Alright, so recently they released a new ban list, so I'll be doing my best to explain to you why certain cards were hit, or why other cards were probably removed from the ban list. First off, let's go with the newly banned cards. We have Linkross, Dragon Buster, and Smoke Grenade of the Thief. So first up, Linkross. No one was really surprised by this. This is a Link 1 monster that allows you to convert a Link 2 or higher Link monster into basically 2 extra tokens on the field, and a brand new downward pointing arrow. Where, when this card's Link summoned, you can special summon up to 2 tokens. However, they have a limitation where they cannot be used as Link materials for the rest of the turn. Originally, before the Master Rule revisions, this wasn't a big deal. It was kind of created as a way to give Synchro monsters a way to actually exist, because they were heavily limited by Master Rule 4. But once those restrictions were loosened, Linkross kind of became overpowered overnight, especially when Halki-Fibrax was added to the game. Although I'm pretty sure both these cards were added around the same time. Now on screen, I'll be showing some combos that Linkross helps facilitate. It's a very good combo piece alongside Halki-Fibrax and Auroradon. Although, they don't really need Linkross. They can still do their combos without it. It's just Linkross is incredibly valuable for those combos, where without Linkross, they have to play a lot more Garnets in their deck if they want to create some unbreakable boards like they have in the past. So now, they can't set up 2 negates effortlessly with like 1 tuner, and now they have to actually play a few more Garnets in order to accomplish the same thing. Then we have Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. This card right here is only used for the effect that when it's equipped to a monster, your opponent cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. It's supposed to be part of the Buster Blader archetype, except they don't really use this card. So what Buster Bladers do is they'll use Prologue of the Destruction Swordsman in order to send Buster Blader and Destruction Sword memories to the grave, in order to bring out Buster Dragon, which will treat all your opponent's monsters as Dragon type. Then, they'll use Destruction Sword memories from the graveyard in order to special summon Buster Blader the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman. And all of this can be done during your opponent's turn, which sets up an incredibly good monster lockdown. And none of that really requires Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. How Dragon Buster Destruction Sword was used was exclusively with Union Carrier. They would just use this card in order to equip it to one of their monsters, as what it does is, if you control a monster, you can just equip another monster from your deck to the card, as long as it has the same original type or attribute. And Dragon Buster Destruction Sword is a dark dragon type monster, like 2 of the best things you could possibly have. If it was a fire pyro type, it wouldn't be a problem. But since it's literally the best attribute and one of the best types, it's real easy to equip this card from your deck to something with Union Carrier. And it just creates an effortless lock your opponent out of extra deck summoning, which is really good. So no one was really surprised to see this hit, because it doesn't actually hinder Buster Blader decks at all, and only just lowers the power level of Union Carrier a little bit. And lastly, we have Smoke Grenade of the Thief. This problem is 100% banned because in for Noble Knight Charles. As what Charles does is it's a level 9 Synchro monster, and during the end phase you can equip an equip spell card from your hand or graveyard to this card, to then equip a Fire Warrior monster from your deck to this card. And this card also has another effect, where if it's equipped with something, you can destroy 1 card on the field. So, during the end phase, a player would just get Smoke Grenade of the Thief in the graveyard, usually through Isolde, and then just equip it to Charles, and then destroy it. And they could do this every single turn as long as they had Charles on the field. And Smoke Grenade of the Thief has an incredibly powerful effect to look at your opponent's hand and discard 1 card from there. Generally, all cards that allow you to do this too easily are banned, because information on your opponent's hand during your first turn is paramount to almost winning the duel, because it's just that valuable. Especially if you're able to do it while also gaining advantage, and through just normal combo plays. Noble Knights don't have to go out of their way to use Smoke Grenade. It's just an easy, effortless look at your opponent's hand and get rid of one of their cards. Alright, now we'll go on to the new semi-limited cards. They're returning True King's Return from 1 copy to 2 copies for some reason. I think like the semi-limited list kind of exists just for them to put strong cards not at 3, but they also don't want to ban them or put them at 1. It's kind of like the testing waters. They put them to 2 to see if it's still strong, and if it's fine, then they eventually unlimit the cards. And sometimes the semi-limited list is just necessary in order to hit special cards, like Destiny Hero Malicious. As what True King's Return does is it basically just lets you special summon a True King monster, which is pretty good in True King decks, but like not super necessary. And the hit on it was just to limit the power level of that deck a little bit. They still have a couple of other cards in that archetype that are also on the ban list. But honestly, if they unrestricted all of them, it might just be able to compete with the current meta decks and wouldn't really dominate anything. Except for maybe Masterpiece. That one could probably stay banned for a little bit longer. Now, for the unlimited cards. They unlimited a lot of stuff, so we don't really need to talk super much about them. Toadally Awesome, semi-limited to unlimited. This one they thought would be much more of a problem when the Master Rule revisions went through, and frogs haven't really been able to compete with the top decks, so it doesn't really make sense for their power level to be limited. Same with ABC Dragon Buster, actually the exact same reasons. They thought it'd be too strong with the Master Rule revisions, and they haven't really been competing with the top decks, so there's no real reason for it to be semi-limited. And then we have 2 of the Burning Abyss cards, Graff and Seer. Burning Abyss haven't really been able to compete with the top decks, so there's no real reason to have 2 of their best combo pieces limited on the list anymore. And finally, Evigishki Mind Augus. I think that's how you say it. This one right here was limited because it has a very long combo that it was able to accomplish with multiple copies, which would take like 40 minutes to complete. I'll have a much faster version on screen. It still is used in combos, but with Link monsters, you can pull off those combos with only 1 copy of the card. So they would either need to ban this card in order to eliminate its FTK potential, or just release it because no one's using it anyway because it can already be used at 1 copy. As what the card does is just when it's ritual summoned, you can target up to 5 cards in your graveyard and return them to the deck, which sounds not very strong because it's not very strong if you just use it on its own without some kind of deck built around trying to take advantage of it. But because the card itself can special summon itself, well, not special summon itself, because it's a ritual monster and it can be special summoned, that kind of opens up loops, especially since their ritual spell card can return it back to your hand. And the effect becomes a lot more useful to return 5 cards if you just draw every single card from your deck. That way you can return choice cards and always get them back, and it involves a whole bunch of loops if you just have other cards like Golden Bamboo Sword in order to draw extra cards, and maybe some kind of burn card, because you can just infinitely loop any card with a Evigishki Mind Augus combo, and just any Link 2 monster that you just constantly cycle between. So all they did was remove it from the ban list because it wasn't super necessary anymore. But there's a couple of other cards on the ban list, you know, with some kind of hits that don't really need to be there either. So this is a really good, you know, start. And if they really cared about getting rid of incredibly long combos, they would probably have banned some of the Ritual Beast monsters as well. So I guess they've kind of relaxed and they think, you know, the power level of the game's to the point where those kinds of decks probably won't be able to go through their combos. Because even though it does have the potential to FTK, it's a very fragile FTK. Like, a few bits of disruption will completely stop what it's trying to do. Unlike Dragon Link, which can just plow through any form of disruption and still set up a big board. Alright, and that's the video. This video is obviously not as well scripted or edited as my usual stuff. That's because those videos generally take at least 2 days on average to produce. And this one is more of a quick job, so hopefully you enjoyed it. Nonetheless, even though it was lower quality than my normal stuff, remember to watch the videos on why all the other cards are banned. I'll probably have to add Linkross, Smoke Grenade, and Dragon Buster Destruction Sword to one of those videos one of these days.